All right. Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to Action Football Sundays. And we have a little bit of nickeling and diming for you here today. We're going to take a look at both the nickel and the dime defense. And we're just going to make this really quick and sort of give you a picture of sort of what it looks like. So, as you can see here, I have another really unusual setup. I've got sort of, I guess, what you would consider to be an inter squad game, the Browns against the Browns here in 1980. One of the cool things that you can do, by the way, with Action PC football, you can play a full game against yourself if you want, and you can coach both teams if you want. So sometimes in the game when you play it, you'll run up against some really somewhat unusual formations. You'll come up against something that's I don't know, maybe like a four wide receiver setup with only one running back. And so we're going to choose that here on offense, and we'll do, I don't know, a short pass, whatever. What the game will automatically do is it will automatically put you in either into sort of a nickel defense or a dime defense. Now, to understand this, if you don't understand the football terminology all the way, and I don't blame you, you got five defensive backs here for the nickel. It's called the nickel because there is a fifth back, right? So for your normal formation, like a 3-4, like we usually play, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 defensive backs, and you got these four big linebackers here who take control of this. Now, this wouldn't make too much sense here, right? Because you've got nobody here covering for a potential run. Now, I know what play I've called. Maybe this would work. I could probably do like tight man coverage if I wanted, and try to stop this short pass that's supposed to be coming. In fact, we can take a look at that really quick to see what happens, see if we end up being able to cover or not. And as you can see, everybody's covered and ends up being incomplete pass, right? But that could be precarious if instead we had run out of that situation. So, that's basically how it looks if you have like a normal type of offensive set. We'll just do the same sort of play here again, which is why I have it set up like this. Instead of doing it with the normal 3-4 defense, so let's take a look and see what we do under the nickel, right? So under the nickel, we have 1, 2, 3 linebackers and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs. And the fifth back, I guess it's a safety here. I'm not sure exactly why it's set up the way it is, but so it is. Fifth back will be known as your nickel back. Now it's telling me here again that we don't have enough defensive backs to match up with the offense. That's the same problem. You can see that we do have one person on each guy because we're playing man. We could also play in zone if we wanted to, and that would change things up so that it looks like this. You have a zone up there, a zone down there, and then you have these two center backs who are also playing a little bit short in the short zone. We'll just do man here to make this a little bit easier to understand. We'll also look for the pass this time and sort of see how this 3-3 works up, despite the fact that we're short those defensive backs. Let's see if we can pass over the top of ourselves. And as you can see, again, we're unable to do so. If you watch closely again here, it's not that, and nobody is sort of left wide open, but we're clearly playing for the pass. I guess we do have these three players here who are also, that would be the nickel back here, that safety, and then these, two linebackers who are also looking for potential run. Well, we had one linebacker blitz. Now we can look at the dime, which is called a dime because it involves two nickels, right? So you have 6 defensive backs, right? That's because 2 nickels equal a dime. Anyway, we'll just do the same exact play call once again, or do a little short slant, whatever. We'll do something that's similar. I keep going to having 3 guys rush because I'm playing with the Browns. That's probably what they would have done in real life, right? Because they went to that 3-4 defense right from the start in 1980, mostly because of injuries and because of some other issues that they had with some of their personnel. When we go to the dime here, you can see that it's set up differently. So instead, we have sort of the 2 linebackers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs. And you get basically 2 players playing in that nickel back role, one up there and one up there. And then you can do all sorts of crazy stuff if you want because you have more defensive backs that you can do interesting things with. So we do have one zone defensive back. We could technically have that and have somebody else, the safety Scott, play in run support if we wanted to. We won't worry about that too much, so we'll just do the same sort of defense and just see how different this looks. So we look here for the pass. We already know what the play is going to be. There's a penalty on the play, so whatever ends up being an incomplete pass and personal foul on the offense. So that's really sad for the offensive team. But when we look at the replay of this again, you can see that everybody is covered, right? Because it's clearly a strong pass defense. There's some other things that are sort of restrictions with this. So let's say that we come out as with a running play and we just have that sort of setup. Now I can put us here back into like a 3-2 dime and I can click on a run, but it will not allow me to because I have so many defensive backs. So that's something else to keep in mind, which is that you're really kind of looking for a pass, especially if you're in that dime defense. You can't go into the nickel defense here and call it running play because you have enough linebackers to allow yourself to look for the run. And as you can see here on this play, as we go take another quick look at it, it was actually successful, right? So we have all of these guys here playing, sort of in the back, sitting back and waiting instead of blitzing and looking for the run. We do have one linebacker blitz. I still have it set on auto blitz. And we have the other linebacker right next to him who sits back and waits and hesitates until the play comes off. He sees where the run is going, and then he runs forward towards it and goes after it immediately. So that gives you kind of an idea of what this looks like, what these different defensive sets are like. You don't have to use a nickel or a dime necessarily in a passing situation, though it's best used in passing situations because this is giving you those extra defensive backs to sort of hang out in the back and wait for the pass to come. If we punt it really quick here to ourselves, we'll also take a real quick look and see what this defense looks like against some unusual and sort of modern type offensive formations. It's not really historically accurate here to run this type of offense. Boy, that was a really bad punt there by Evans. But anyway, if we take a look at this and we say we're going to do a complete like sort of West Coast style offense, nobody in the backfield at all, and instead of this, we're going to do like, I don't know, trips to the left, right? And we're going to call, I don't know, a passing play, like a medium pass to Reggie Rucker, right? You can see right here that the defense, it's not going to recommend like anything for me because of how unusual the formation is going to look, right? So we do have to actually choose a formation. We probably will want to do sort of a dime formation, maybe something that's like this, just to make sure that we are lining up against the offense as best as we possibly can. And also, as you can see, we want to make sure that we do have somebody playing against the tight end, Ozzie Newsome in this case. Now, we can go to a zone if we want, and if we're going to a zone here, this is sort of what it's going to look like in the 3-2. Again, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensive backs, and then only the 2 linebackers there. Now, honestly, when you're playing with a team like this Browns team, you probably want to have some of these extra linebackers. The thing about the 1980 Browns defense is that they had 4 fairly good linebackers, which is one of the reasons why they play chiefly in the 3-4. You can see, of course, that there's a problem with trying to play the zone in 3-4 against this team because like the safeties end up having to do sort of the cornerback type work. And then, what kind of zone is this? You could just probably pass the ball right over the center. We can take a look really quick and see what happens if we have this sort of strange setup. And as you can see, they can throw the ball just right over the center. Basically, though we were in the zone, if you watch closely what's happening here with our defensive backs is that they have to play in man anyway because the zone just doesn't quite stretch out enough, and that's the formation weakness. So another thing to sort of keep in mind with this, especially if you're playing with a zone, if we're going to do like the same exact play again or a similar play, we'll do a long pass, and instead we decide to do a zone, but we're going to play in a dime instead. You're going to see that so we have a disguise so it's not so clear that we're playing in a zone, and you can see that we're a little bit better at getting back. Still able to throw it to Rucker, and how about that as a touchdown? But as you can see with that sort of zone defense, there are more guys playing back, trying to take away, sort of the pass to the center there. And really, honestly, if we look at this, at least from what the chalkboard is showing us, I would say that we had guys in the right place. It was just this safety here, whoever it is, who made a poor play and who was unable to stop it there before it comes in. Anyway, that gives you hopefully probably a really quick idea and a general feeling of how the nickel and the dime plays. Again, you normally want to use this against passing offenses or in certain passing situations. You do have to be careful that, especially when you're dealing with modern offenses, that you have it set up right so that you're not leaving huge swaths of the field wide open, right? You don't want to make it easy for the offense to just throw the ball over your defense. So you have to be a little bit careful with it, but that in general is how it works. And theoretically, you can use it against the run if needs be, but be careful with it. You're probably better off with a formation that's going to give you more linebackers if you're looking to stop the run, for the obvious reason that you want to have more guys backing up your line. And there you have it. And that's it for our Action PC Football tip of this week. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.